Have you ever felt like you're studying IELTS a lot, but you're not getting any better? You're memorizing new vocabulary, you're taking practice tests, but you're just not seeing the improvement that you want to see. Well, today we're going to talk about some ways that you can help yourself not necessarily study harder, but instead to study smarter. That's the key, right? We want to get the most bang for our buck for the time that we have to devote to IELTS. So today we're going to talk about how to track your studies, how to see what the best method is for you, and I think most importantly, how to track your emotions as you study to make sure you're studying in a healthy and productive way. So let's talk about why a lot of students waste time when they're studying for their IELTS exam. I can tell you from my own personal experience with students is that a lot of students think the more vocabulary they memorize, the better they're going to do on the test. Or the more practice tests they take, the better they're going to do on the test. And that's just simply not true. I really think the key for studying IELTS effectively is to be consistently asking yourself 3 questions. The first is, what am I learning? And I'm not talking about just the topic. I'm talking about the concrete, actual things that are going into your brain that you'll be able to produce later. The second is, how am I learning? Are you just being a passive receiver of information, or are you actually practicing that new information in a way that helps you and will later help you perform on the test? And the third, and again, I think the most important question, is how am I feeling while I'm learning? Are you stressed? Are you anxious? Are you tired? Managing those emotions are going to help you perform better. And if you keep track of them over time, they're going to help you find those study grooves, those study places, those study methods that really sync with the type of learner you are and sync with your personality. So when you're not consistently asking yourself these questions, you're wasting time. And you're wasting valuable time that could be better spent preparing for the IELTS in an effective way for you. So let's look at the first question a little more in depth. How do we track what we learn? The first method is to keep a learning journal. At the end of each study session, ask yourself, what have I learned today? What is a mistake that I made that I then corrected? And one question maybe that you still have. This will help you reinforce that information that you have learned. It will also help you reinforce those corrections that you've made. And that last question will maybe inspire you to look a little deeper into a topic of something that you don't understand. More importantly, though, is that you're tracking it and you're showing an awareness of what happened during your study session. Also, a second method is to do a weekly review. We can sit down at the end of the week, flip through our daily study session reviews, and ask ourselves, do I still remember this? How can I use this during the test? By tracking our daily study sessions and doing a weekly review, it helps build motivation because you see the progress that you're making, and it also helps reinforce the things that we have learned. Now, when I say a daily study review, I am not talking about sitting down for an hour and writing and writing and writing. But take 5 minutes. Take 3 minutes. If you want to write more, that's fine. But this is not supposed to be a writing exercise. This is just for you and your use to help track your study journey. Another benefit of keeping a study journal is it helps you to discover what type of learner you are. Not everyone learns the best the same way. For example, you might be able to look back over your daily and weekly records and see that you did better studying some materials in a certain way. For example, maybe you did better looking at visual questions. So this might tell you that you're more of a visual learner, and we can adapt that to different IELTS skills. For example, building mind maps, making color-coded notes, using charts, that sort of thing. If you're not a visual learner, maybe you are an auditory learner. An auditory learner is going to do best listening to material. For example, you might learn new vocabulary better by listening to a podcast or listening to something on YouTube than you would from reading new material. You might do better by recording yourself and listening back and picking out the mistakes that you've made. Finally, you might be something we call a kinesthetic learner, and it means you learn more by physical actions. You can see the way that I talk. I use my hands a lot. I am a kinesthetic learner. One of the things I do when I practice Vietnamese is make the tones with my fingers while I'm speaking. I do it very subtly. I do it where people can't really see, but it's something that I do and something that helps me pronounce words correctly. So if you're a kinesthetic learner, you might find that you study most effectively when you're walking around, when you're using a lot of gestures, when you're using different types of pins with different types of feelings. Basically, if something isn't working for you, you can change it. You can look back over your daily and weekly records, see what is working, what is not, and adapt accordingly. We can make this a circular or iterative process where every day builds on the next and you're constantly adapting. And remember, I'm not talking about 100% swings from one side to the other. But if you improve 1, 2, 3% every day, that really adds up and will make you a much more effective learner and will make your study time much more effective and efficient. This last part is about how emotions affect your study. And I think it's something that we really don't appreciate enough. The fact of the matter is, if you're anxious or worried or sad or stressed, you are not going to study as effectively as if you are relaxed, confident, and comfortable. Remember, we want you to be comfortable so that you are able to explore new things, to try different things with the language, rather than just that anxious avoidance of making mistakes, because that anxious avoidance is going to kill your fluency. So I recommend, along with your daily and weekly review, write a sentence about how you're feeling. You can use your native language if you like. The language is not the point. The point is that you are monitoring, tracking, accepting, and appreciating your feelings, how you're feeling at that time. Today I was really stressed. My room was really noisy. They were doing construction outside. Maybe if you're in a quieter place, you can say, well, I found this little cafe. It was really peaceful. I really felt like I did a good job studying. Again, by going back and reviewing those notes, you're going to find what type of time of day works best for you, what location works best for you, what day of the week works best for you. You're going to be able to track those changes and see them over time. And that's going to help you be a more effective studier by repeating those conditions and locations where you were most comfortable and where you felt that you studied the best. Another thing to keep in mind is to reframe the mistakes you're making. Don't beat yourself up. That's not good for your emotions. It's not good for your anxiety. We all make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. In fact, for most of the people watching this video, you are not going to get a 9 overall in the IELTS speaking. Most native speakers would not get a 9. We make mistakes. It's what we do. We're human, and it's okay. The idea is that you're making mistakes and you're reframing how you look at them. Yes, I made a mistake today, but it helped me understand this point of grammar or this use of vocabulary more. It's not, I made a mistake, I'm bad at English. It's, I made a mistake and it helped me learn and improve. Also, don't forget to reward yourself. If you have a good study session, go out and have a nice cup of coffee or a tea. Go out and, what I do, get myself a candy bar because I love sweets. It's important to reward yourself. I'm not talking about going out and buying a new motorbike or going on vacation. I'm talking about something little and small that you will appreciate that is a reward for a job well done. So, I think something that would really reshape how you study IELTS and how quickly you improve is to do that daily reflection of 2 to 5 minutes and a weekly review of what you've learned. What's one thing I've learned today? What's one thing I want to improve next time? And how did I feel while studying? If you're asking yourself these questions, you're showing an awareness of your study methods, your study environments, and how studying makes you feel that most people never ask themselves. As a personal story, I can tell you that I have done a lot of school, a lot of tests, a lot of papers in my lifetime. And these are things that I do to help me succeed. They're not big, they don't take a long time, but they are very effective, showing an awareness of what is going on in our mind and how we are feeling emotionally are very, very, very good language learning strategies. And it's really something I encourage you to try. Even if you think I'm crazy, try it for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. Look back on what you've written, and I guarantee you, you will see an improvement. So if you've made it this far in the video, you're already ahead of most IELTS students. So if you found this video helpful, please leave me a thumbs up and share the video with your friends or other students who are studying IELTS. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions or comments or ideas for future videos, leave them in the comments below and you may see them here in the future. Until we meet again next time, happy studying.